Whether you are interested in true wellness or the awakening process, you will certainly benefit from healing your soul. Healing the soul is essential to transcending our current state. The reality from which we are awakened is rooted in duality. Duality involves paired thoughts and beliefs. In ethics and spirituality, these pairs are often opposing. Such antagonistic pairs can create internal conflict, hindering the soul's ability to reach a frequency that aligns with its true nature.
That which fills space is one substance. It is whole. Since that which fills space is whole, there must be a connection among all that exists.
The cosmos is unified, and everything within it is a manifestation of that unity. When something unified appears divided and antagonistic, it signals a break. In the case of the soul, this conceptual division results in what is known as the fracturing of the soul. A fractured soul cannot fully transcend or align with the frequency of unity or oneness. Therefore, as you awaken or as you go about seeking true healing, it's essential to undertake the process of healing your soul. This podcast aims to offer a framework to help you transcend the dualistic plane. But before we do that, we need to establish a shared understanding of what the soul is, what causes its fracturing, the benefits the soul gains from being fractured, because believe me, there are benefits from being fractured, and why healing is essential. I will be providing a conceptual framework for the healing of the soul as well. The term soul denotes an extension of the original substance that can possess individuality. It encompasses the essential qualities of the original substance, including life, consciousness, and awareness. Let me briefly mention some information that was gathered through remote viewing. Now, remote viewing is a paranormal activity in which an individual perceives information about a distant or unseen target, such as a person, place, object, or event. The remote viewer uses their mind to access impressions beyond the normal senses. Many remote viewers believe that for souls to remain in this dimension or return to Earth after death, they must be fractured. The signs of a fractured soul is dualism. Dualism causes internal discord, making individuals feel torn between different parts of themselves and the cosmos. Often, one of the dual thoughts evokes fear, as seen in the concept of good and evil. The concept of good and evil lies at the core of dualism and the splitting of the soul. In fact, it serves as a tool that divides the soul. Initially, it portrays a hierarchy where the soul is considered good and superior, while the body is seen as evil, inferior, or a distraction. This leads the soul to struggle against its physical sensory existence. The soul not only struggles against its physical form, but also recognizes the hierarchy in its external environment. A fractured soul is conditioned to believe that the cosmos is governed by two fundamental opposing forces. One is good and the other is evil. The good force must be loved and embraced, but the evil force must be feared. As the soul continually battles its inferior self, these two cosmic forces are locked in an eternal struggle. A fractured soul constantly emits energy because of its intense inner conflicts and fears. This leaves the soul weaker, less effective, and more susceptible to dysfunction than a unified, aligned, and coherent soul. Over time, the soul tends to categorize everything it encounters as either good or evil. This tendency to view the world through two mutually exclusive, opposite, and often antagonistic categories such as good and evil or us and them fuels conflicts and wars by creating rigid, polarized frameworks that justify hostility and dehumanize opponents. Keep in mind that dualism often doesn't stop at mere separation. It frequently involves hierarchy, labeling one side as superior and the other as inferior. This leads to constant conflicts among nations striving for recognition as the superior power. Additionally, this mindset fosters discriminatory behavior, exploitation, and dehumanization of the inferior, making it easier to commit acts of violence against those deemed inferior. But does the soul gain from being fractured? The answer is yes, it does. Before the soul is drawn into what some call an earthly prison, it exists as part of the whole. But the sense of individuality was minimal, if not almost absent within the soul. It becomes prominent when the soul is fractured. The sense of individuality is crucial for accountability and self-responsibility because it defines the self as separate, a separate entity from everything else around the self. Separateness is necessary for making choices and accepting the consequences. Hence, it increases the rate of cosmological evolution. Anything that increases accountability and self responsibility is going to be increasing personal development. And in a broader sense, it is going to be increasing cosmological evolution. Consequently, it is fundamental to the cosmos evolutionary phase. Right and wrong helps maintain this separateness. That's why we have right and wrong. It helps maintain the separateness. So do race and different belief systems. All of this help to keep the soul fractured. However, the soul eventually reaches a state of existence where dualism no longer provides benefits. It is similar to an individual like a child who no longer needs breast milk. Many rules set by our parents no longer serve us as adults and might even be counterproductive if we continue to follow them. This illustrates how the dualistic system should be understood as we seek to unify the cosmos within ourselves. It is neither right or wrong. Everything in the cosmos simply is what it is, and each system within it has its own purpose, has its benefit. Because our dualistic existence generates significant energy with the many conflicts that we experience and the wars and the unrest, the cosmos requires entities to absorb this energy, this constant output of energy that we are engaging in. These entities responsible for consuming the energy we emit will not display human-like traits or emotions, as their cosmic role differs from ours. They are not humans. Additionally, a system must exist to contain the soul within a designated area within the cosmos during certain stages of its growth. This mechanism ensures the soul remains within these boundaries until it reaches the required development and transformation. So, the fracturing of the soul is not something malicious. It is a vital part of the cosmological process. Every individual experiencing an awakening or seek to unify themselves should strive for oneness to transcend dualistic reality. Achieving this oneness is challenging, especially since we have been conditioned to view certain cosmic entities as evil, a term that is often misused today. Evil really involves acting outside of one's cosmic boundary or cosmologically prescribed role. If archons follow their assigned roles, they are not evil. They merely exist as they are. Like humans, it is possible for other cosmic entities to operate outside of their prescribed blueprint, including the archons. However, archons are not human-like, and their cosmic roles differ from those of humans. I have developed a conceptual framework based on information about H2O to help you understand the idea of a unified cosmos. I frequently use H2O in my personal development lectures and discussions because, like the cosmos with its multiple frequencies, H2O can exist in many different states, temperatures, and forms. I find the analogy between H2O and the cosmos very easy for my clients to understand.
That which fills space is one substance. It is whole. Since that which fills space is whole, there must be a connection among all that exists.
H2O has three main manifestations or primary manifestations: a solid known as ice, a liquid called water, and a gas referred to as water vapor. Steam is an intermediate state between water and water vapor. It contains both water droplets and the invisible H2O gas. The transition from ice to water is simply called water. Notice that although I initially stated H2O as three primary manifestations or main manifestation, I have so far described 5 different states because there is a state between water and water vapor, and there is another one between ice and water. H2O as ice can manifest itself in different forms as well. There's a solid ice cube like the kind refrigerator produces. There is snow, which is aggregates of frozen water crystals, and there is firn, which is compacted snow that has survived one summer and is undergoing a transformation into solid ice. So H2O in its solid state can exist in many forms. We have snow, we have ice cubes, and we have firn. Keep in mind as we go along that we are talking about one substance. The substance is H2O. Liquid H2O, water, has different manifestations as well. As liquid H2O cools, it contracts. It reaches its maximum density at around 4 degrees Celsius. That is where it is most dense. When liquid H2O is heated, it expands and becomes less dense. This suggests that liquid H2O is not quite the same at different temperatures. At different temperatures, there is a different density, which suggests that at different temperatures and pressure, there's a different vibrational frequency. And if there's a different vibrational frequency, it means that liquid H2O behaves differently at different temperatures. And the temperature of liquid H2O you may employ for a task depend on the nature of the task. For example, if you desire a cup of warm tea, it is quite unlikely that you will settle for liquid H2O existing at 3 degrees Celsius. That temperature has a cold sensation. You would need liquid H2O existing closer to 85 or 100 degrees Celsius. H2O as a gas manifests itself differently at varying temperatures as well. As temperature increases, gases tend to become less dense and more compressible. their molecules begin to move faster and the gas occupies a larger volume. If the temperature is lowered, gases become more dense and less compressible. The movement of their molecules slows, and if the temperature continues to decrease, there is a likelihood of the gas becoming liquid H2O. If the temperature continues to fall, gaseous H2O will eventually convert to a solid state. H2O as a gas, by virtue of different temperature and pressure, behaves differently within that state, the gas state. The molecules can either move faster or slower depending on the density. Moving faster or slower means behaving differently. Within the gaseous bandwidth of H2O, different behaviors can be seen. Different behaviors are noted. Just as within the bandwidth of the liquid state of H2O, different behaviors are noted as well. Not only does gaseous H2O behave differently from solid or liquid H2O, but within every primary state of H2O, different behaviors are seen. Make note of this, that there is difference within the state as well as states differing from each other. There are two other states of H2O that I'm going to briefly mention. These are structured water and water plasma. Structured water is liquid H2O that may have been influenced by magnetic fields, light, or other natural processes, which alter its hydrogen bonding and creating ordered crystalline-like clusters. Water plasma results from treating liquid water or liquid H2O with an ionized gas called plasma. Usually, this treatment results in the breaking of hydrogen bonds. Please keep in mind that we are discussing one substance here. This substance is H2O. All we have discussed so far, ice, as ice cubes, snow, fern, water, steam, water vapor, water plasma, and structured water are all different manifestations of H2O. If we refer to all these forms of H2O as entities, we could say that many entities emanate from H2O, and all these entities behave differently, whether by virtue of different temperatures or treatment. They all behave differently.
All that exists is one, and all that has ever existed is one. Everything belongs to one, is part of one. To whom else could something belong if there is only one?
That which fills space is one substance. It is whole. Since that which fills space is whole, there must be a connection among all that exists.
Referring to all the forms of H2O mentioned, we can also say that all comes from one, H2O, and is a manifestation of that one. That one is H2O. Every state of H2O is important. Ice, for example, is vital for regulating global temperatures. It provides fresh water and supports ecosystems. Ice also serves as a record of climate history. Ice cores contain valuable information about past climates, helping scientists understand how the climate has changed over time. Ice also acts as a blanket for the Earth, reflecting sunlight and preventing excessive heat absorption. Water, on the other hand, is vital for human health. In fact, water makes up a significant portion of our body weight and plays a crucial role in numerous bodily functions. It helps us maintain hydration, transport nutrients throughout the body, and helps regulate body temperatures. Our joints use water for lubrication, and our elimination process is aided by water. And what about agriculture? We need water for that too. We also use water for hydropower. Water plasma, or plasma activated water, as it is called, plays a key role in healthcare, agriculture, and industry. Plasma activated water is effective against various bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Hence, it may be used for disinfection and wound care. Plasma activated water is said to be stress reducing, relaxing, performance enhancing, decongestant, and allergy fighting. It also compensates for the frequent deficit of solar energy in the body, resulting in an increased sense of well-being. The gaseous state of H2O is crucial to the Earth's climate and weather patterns. It is the primary greenhouse gas influencing the Earth's temperature and acting as a key component of the water cycle. The gaseous state of H2O absorbs heat from the Earth's surface and influences weather patterns, including cloud formation and precipitation.
Since the substance that fills space is one, everything originates from that one. All is the very essence of that one. If there is only one substance, what else could things be made of?
All states of H2O come from one, H2O, and are manifestations of that one. Every state of H2O is extremely important. None is more important than the others. We could say they are of equal importance. There are some things that ice can do that water cannot do, and there are some things for which water vapor is the state of choice. H2O is the epitome of one and oneness. All three primary states of H2O can exist independently of the others, provided the surrounding temperature and pressure conditions are met. But the states are intimately linked through phase transitions. Changes in energy constantly transform one form into another form. This makes the states interdependent in natural cycles. If ice intends to maintain its integrity or state, it must be careful when associating with water or with the temperatures and pressure at which H2O exists in its liquid state. Ice may also need to guard itself from steam and water vapor. It is not that the liquid or the gaseous state of H2O is bad. It simply means that the temperatures and pressure at which H2O exists as a liquid or gas are not conducive to ice. Not if ice intends to maintain its integrity. The laws governing the solid state of H2O directly dictate the conditions necessary for its formation and its preservation. And the laws which govern the solid state of H2O are different from the laws which govern the liquid or the gaseous state of H2O. If water is hot, and would like to maintain its integrity, it must protect itself from ice or the temperatures and pressures at which ice is formed. Hot water faces an even greater challenge in preventing its transformation into steam. If hot water strongly resists the steam state, much of its energy will be channeled into protecting itself from entering that state. Remember, these are all entities of H2O. But each entity must protect itself from other entities or the conditions that bring about other entities. If it is desirous of self-preservation, if it is desirous of maintaining its integrity.
All that exists is one, and all that has ever existed is one. Everything belongs to one and is a part of one. To whom else could some things belong if there is only one?
I have mentioned the goodness of all states of H2O, but all the states can be destructive as well. Hot water can burn, ice can freeze things that should not be frozen. Since H2O considers all the states in which it manifests as equally powerful and important, it needs a mechanism that prevents it from becoming stuck in any one state. It also needs a mechanism that protects each state from being destroyed by the others. If one state becomes increasingly powerful, H2O must act to maintain the balance among the states. But remember, all states are manifestations of H2O.
That which fills space is one substance. It is whole. Since that which fills space is whole, there must be a connection among all that exists.
All comes from one and is a manifestation of that one, H2O. Ice cubes, snow, fern, water at different temperatures, steam, water vapor, structured water, and plasma activated water. Each primary state has laws unique to it. Each primary state must protect itself from other states in the spirit of self-preservation. Each state can exist independently of other states, yet shares an interdependent link associated with the natural cycle. None of the states is more important than the others. Each state can be beneficial or destructive. In essence, H2O is the epitome of the cosmos in action, the one cosmic substance extending itself into many different states.